Good morning. I'm Tissa Wijeratne, neurologist from Melbourne. Thank you for joining us to enjoy yet another episode of Brain Health for All. As promised, today I'm going to talk about what investigations that you may need to go through if your doctor felt that you had a TIA or mini stroke. Now, the main investigations that you may need to go through depend on the side of the stroke. When I say side of the stroke, you may recall that we talked about the blood supply to the brain in a previous episode. We told that there are two blood vessels supplying blood to the brain from the front of the head. They go through your neck, like this area. These are known as internal carotid arteries. Then there are two main blood vessels that are coming from your back. They are known as vertebral arteries. So these four blood vessels inside the brain make a little circle. This circle is known as circle of Willis. Interestingly, almost 80% of the blood supply to the brain indeed come from the front blood vessels in the neck. Internal carotid arteries. 20% of the blood supply come from the back blood vessels, vertebral arteries. So one of the key tests that we do in transient ischemic attack is we wanted to know about these blood vessels, but we also wanted to know about the brain. Although TIA should not really show any changes in the brain, we must get a brain scan. We must get a scan in the blood vessel supplying the neck also, in particular if we suspect the TIA or the mini stroke is coming from one of the front blood vessels. So brain scan, neck scan, that's mandatory. We are also interested in a series of blood tests. We wanted to know the blood sugar level. We wanted to know the diabetes status. We wanted to know your simple blood counts. These are known as white cells, red cells, platelets, etc. Takes only few minutes to do. We also wanted to know how your kidneys are functioning, as some of the medication that we want to use would need this piece of information. Another critical important thing is we wanted to know about your heart rhythm and heart status. In particular, we wanted to know whether your pulse is beating regularly or whether your pulse is beating irregularly. This is because there is a condition called atrial fibrillation or irregular heartbeat that is a big risk for stroke. So we are very interested in noticing this. There are multiple ways to test for this, checking your pulse, using doctor's fingers, doing a heart rhythm, which is known as ECG, that many of you would have already had, and doing a 24-hour recording of your heart rate monitoring, which is known as Holter monitoring, or even more long-term recording, which is known as a loop recorder, where we could insert a little chip under your skin and monitor your heart rate over a 2-3 year period. Then we also do an ultrasound scan of your heart to look at structural problems of your heart that could cause or contribute to mini stroke or transient ischemic attack. We are also interested in your blood pressure status also. So all these things that I mentioned give us an opportunity to manipulate, modify, and prevent you from having a stroke. That is your blood pressure, heart rhythm, your blood sugar, cholesterol level, whether you have high level of bad cholesterol, low levels of good cholesterol, high levels of triglyceride, etc. We are also interested in any underlying sleep disorders that might contribute to this also. Although these two things are not investigations, we are particularly interested in your smoking status and alcohol status. As I said before, we don't like people to smoke, we don't like people to take alcohol, because both are risk factors for mini strokes and strokes. So, the tests that your doctors are going to do are there for them to decide which risk factor has contributed you to have that mini stroke, and then they would come up with a strategy to modify that so that your stroke can be prevented. Let's say you had a mini stroke and your doctor couldn't find any of these risk factors. You have perfect blood pressure, your heart rhythm is perfectly normal, all the heart tests are normal, absolutely no risk factor for you to have a mini stroke, yet you had a mini stroke. Your doctor would still prescribe you with 2 or 3 new medications for you to take home with. One of them would be a small dose of a blood thinning tablet. One of them would be a small dose of a blood pressure tablet. One of them would be a small dose of a cholesterol lowering tablet. This is irrespective of the fact that none of these things are abnormal in your case to begin with. The reason that your doctor wanted you to take them for the rest of your life is we have ample amount of research work to show that modifying these 3 things and adding these 3 chemicals would reduce your risk of having a major stroke from 80%. That would help you to reduce your dementia risk from about 30% also. So, when you are being diagnosed as having a TIA, irrespective of those risk factors being normal, if your doctors prescribe these 3 medications, remember that you are going to take them for the rest of your life, as that would protect you from having another stroke for the rest of your life with 80% assurance. So, I hope the little discussion that we did today on transient ischemic attack investigations have enlightened you why doctors are doing certain things and why doctors are prescribing you with certain things even without you having blood pressure, cholesterol lowering problems, etc., as they are going to give you better brain health and quality neurology. Now, as a take-home message, I told you only about 3 chemicals that your doctors are going to introduce you to protect you and give you better brain health. Remember, every time when you take a smoke, you basically insert about 7,000 very bad chemicals into your body, including vaping. That's why smoking is horribly bad, and we as doctors, we really can't do much if you continue to smoke, as we really can't prescribe you with 6,000 chemicals, as 3 chemicals might even give you some side effects. Imagine that we coming up to you with a large number of chemicals to counterattack. So if you had a mini stroke or angina or any problem in your blood vessels, please keep well away from smoking. If you don't have them, or if you haven't had them, keep away from smoking also. That would avoid you from having those disorders ever again. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Take care, stay safe and stay well.
එරපදුමය පෝදින කෝකිල වසන්තේ මෙවරත් මෙල්බන් බක් මහවුලෙල. අප්‍රේල් 2 වන ඉරිදා ඩැන්ජනෝම් ක්‍රීඩාංගණයේ පෙරවරු 9 සිට ශ්‍රී ලංකා මෝර්නිං ෂෝ channel 31 නාලිකාවෙන් සජීවීව නරඹන්න ඔබටත් අවස්ථාව. සංවිධානය ශ්‍රී ලංකා ජර්මානු කාර්මික අභ්‍යාස ආයතනයේ ආදි ශිෂ්‍ය සංගමය.